Hi again. Welcome to Pearl Magazine. When it comes to skylines, Hong Kong is world class. For decades, the city's iconic skyscrapers have been postcard perfect. But if you could scratch and sniff those postcards, it would quickly become apparent why our city is known as Fragrant Harbor. Government figures show the amount of marine waste collected between 2010 and 2019 averaged about 15,000 tons annually. All that floating pollution threatens our health, as well as the region's marine ecosystems. So what is Hong Kong doing to clean up its act? Pearl Magazine's Ambrose Lee went to find out.
On this day in Aberdeen, Angus is going out for a boat trip. However, these two vessels are no ordinary boats. Neither is this an ordinary trip. Designed specifically for picking up marine waste, the boats are, in fact, the brainchildren of Angus, co-founder of Clear Waterways Initiative.
The main net rate lifts up, and then the crews sort the debris back onto the sorting deck and divide it for recyclable materials, so PET and HDPE plastic bottles, aluminium cans and landfill waste, which is then disposed of correctly at the end of each working day.
With an aim to clean up the ocean, the boat itself is a zero-emission vessel that runs 100% on solar power. Having started the project in 2019, he's noticed a difference in marine waste since the outbreak of the pandemic.
Unfortunately, it has got worse due to COVID, I think. People's habits have changed a lot. Restaurants aren't open in the evenings, so there's people taking a lot more takeout food, takeout plastic containers. So a large proportion of that does end up in the oceans.
There are 4 such boats in their fleet at the moment, 2 of them operating daily in the Aberdeen Typhoon Shelter. In the past 3 months, they have collected 7 tons of waste from the sea. A small effort, yet compared to the government's marine refuse figure of 15,000 tons a year between 2010 and 2019. Amid the rubbish, one particular material catches their eye.
In Hong Kong, we see a lot of polystyrene, which is really unfortunate and disappointing because a lot of places in the world have banned polystyrene. Hong Kong still uses it, all the fishing boats use it, a lot of takeaway food containers are still polystyrene form. This is really bad for the environment and really hard to collect and break down and recycle. So, that's one thing we would love to see a push to get rid of.
He says one of the reasons he is so devoted to cleaning up Hong Kong's water is his own personal experience with the ocean.
Well, I'm from Australia, and the ocean there is much, much cleaner than here. So it really was kind of shocking to see the amount here and see that there was not that much being done about it, and also the public awareness is it just doesn't seem to be there in Hong Kong. It has got a bit better, I think, in the time that I've been in Hong Kong, but it's still got a long, long way to go. We're currently in our workshop where we build all the electrical system for the boat, our equipment storage, and our workshop where we build the components of the boats.
Angus and his wife Ellen have spent much of their time in the workshop since 2019 when the project started. Angus focuses on the technical side of the boats, while Ellen manages the business side of the project.
I think for us, it started off as a passion project. We live down by the beach and see firsthand how polluted it is. Spend a lot of time on the water as well, so something that we just felt very passionate about materializing. It's now something that we work on full-time, both of us.
Angus and Ellen also got help from a bank and an electrical company who offered financial and technical support.
I think everyone can see that there's a plastic pollution problem in the ocean. I think what the fuel for us was that we thought that what was being done about it wasn't enough, and the boats that we had seen operating in Hong Kong weren't purpose-built for the task. They were just converted boats or modified boats. That's what sparked the idea, is that if we to do the job better, you have to have machinery and equipment that's designed for that specific job.
According to a study conducted by the Environmental Protection Department, Marine refuse can be differentiated into floating refuse, which accounts for just over 70%, and shoreline refuse, which accounts for just under 30%. The same study also looked into the composition of marine refuse, showing that over 70% are plastic and foam plastic items in both floating and shoreline refuse. The rest of the marine refuse consists of glass and ceramic, rubber, wood, and metal, among others.
You can see there are bottles and there are pieces of polystyrene lunch boxes, and also some. This is also another format of polystyrene, and it is like the fruits wrapping net.
Over at Lap Sap 1, literally Rubbish Bay near Shek O, a similar scene can be observed.
There are like all kinds of trashes just go from the ocean to the shore, like bottles or cutlery, just anything we use in daily life.
Hoi Shun works for an environmental NGO. She says that all this rubbish, in particular plastic, when exposed to sunlight, could become brittle and break down into microplastics, which are then washed back into the ocean.
Just in 3 years, the microplastic concentration tripled. And when we compare the microplastic concentration with other areas around the world, actually Hong Kong is the top 3 microplastic hotspot.
She says this adversely impacts marine life, as fish and other animals would unknowingly consume microplastics. The marine pollution ultimately affects us.
There are toxins and additives in plastic that can store in marine life. That means when we eat the marine life, even if we do not eat the plastic in the fish itself, the toxics or the additives can still be consumed by us when we eat the seafood. The additives or the toxins can cause cancer or other hormones problem to a human life.
While efforts are made to clearing the waste on the shores and in the seas, the underwater waste is an entirely different kettle of fish.
Thank you so much for all of you to join us for this very meaningful event, cleaning up the underwater trash.
Over the past 7 years, 68-year-old diving enthusiast Harry has been an advocate of tackling marine pollution in Hong Kong. Harry says the majority of marine waste is at the bottom, not the surface of the water.
We are in Sharp Island Back. We're here with about 15 divers, volunteers, and then we will be doing an underwater cleanup. The water's okay? Visibility, okay?
In addition to the usual aluminium cans and plastic, divers say the most challenging thing to take out from the sea is the tangled fishing nets, which are discarded into the sea from both commercial and recreational fishing. They call these ghost nets.
I see a lot of a ghost net, a tangle with a lot of corals, okay, and tangled fish, tangle all kinds of trash such as plastic, construction material, chemical.
For first-timer Gabrielle, this was a challenge.
So I just got those cans of beer up, and then also there was a string, and then it took me a lot of strength because it was so anchored. I kept on yanking, and then also there was such a strong surge near the coast.
This is my third dive after with Harry after I came to Hong Kong, and that is like in 7 to 8 months. And we were not shocked to see what was underneath the water. It's heartbreaking for us to see.
Despite his continuous efforts, Harry is aware that what he is doing is only a drop in the ocean. Does that make you feel frustrated?
It does sometimes. When I see, the more I clean up, the more I see the problem. The more ghost net, the more underwater trash I see. But however, I think we have to continue to do that to inspire more young divers, and then hopefully one day we will find a solution.
While out on the sea, Harry also takes some of the participants to a beach close to where they are diving to pick up more rubbish.
We see very big items like a styrofoam block, which is used for construction, in which those construction styrofoam is embedded in the cement.
It's Bowie's first visit to a remote beach like this. She works for a polystyrene recycling company and is keen to see what they can do.
I think the government has to put up more efforts in promoting that styrofoam can be recycled. At the same time, I think they can have a discussion on whether some legislation on producer responsibility should be put for consideration in the Hong Kong.
Polystyrene and otherwise, Harry says marine pollution is a problem that needs to be dealt with urgently.
It's not just Hong Kong, it's a global issue. For what I've been doing for the last 7 years, I saw a lot of waste, such as industrial waste, chemical waste, medical waste, construction waste, you name it, I saw them all. So with everything mixed together, it's like building a bomb. So if it gets worse, it would do such a big problem to the planet and to human beings, to all kinds of life.
Up next, gender-bending breakthroughs. We meet the women determined to bust through traditional notions of what a woman should be. Stay with us. Welcome back. For centuries, traditional Chinese society has persistently clung to notions about how women should dress, behave, and present themselves. Over time, some of these conceptions have evolved, but others remain entrenched. Tonight, Pearl Magazine meets some of the women determined to challenge those stubborn stereotypes.
At this restaurant, every employee has a certain level of learning difficulties. Owner Maria Law founded this social enterprise in 2017, initially to help her daughter Flora, because she has the same problem. She wasn't likely to find a job elsewhere.
She had a lot of training after graduation, but still couldn't find a job. Many of her classmates had the same problem. Someone was selling this restaurant at the time, so I bought it.
To get the best of her staff, Maria needs to teach them with great patience.
For example, Big Brother can't speak very clearly. So I will write a note he can show to others. If they understand, then it's done. He has done a good job.
Over the past few years, Maria saw a lot of improvement. She wants to help more people through her restaurant.
I've seen my daughter and other staff find their way. I hope I can help more people and hire more employees.
3 years ago, Maria adopted 2 cats. They have become Flora's best friends, even though she has learning difficulties and autism. When Flora was young, she looked no different from other kids.
When she was in primary school, she was a slow learner. At age 12, she was diagnosed with intelligence problems after an assessment. Then she became emotional. And I took her to see a doctor. I was told she had autism too.
Maria overcame the bad news very soon. She tried her best to help her daughter study, but felt sorry that she wasn't diagnosed sooner.
For a child like her, the golden age for treatment is around age 6. But she was already 12.
Flora doesn't have a good sense of balance or eye-hand coordination, so she's not capable of taking care of herself. Maria's husband died from cancer at an early age, so she has no one else to rely on.
My husband was sick when I was pregnant. I knew when I decided to keep the baby that no man would be by my side. I did deal with many things myself. After the frustration, I came to realize my daughter didn't want it too. She wanted to be able to do everything.
Despite the hardship, Maria has been trying her best to remain optimistic and to find something to be thankful for.
I'm used to it. It's been so many years. When I look back, I feel thankful because many nice people have helped me along the way.
Maria also wants to give back to those in need. Although she's busy running her restaurant, in her spare time, she also distributes free meals to the homeless.
We are heading to Nam Cheong Station today. There is a tunnel. Around 30 homeless people are living there. We usually give them free meals, masks, hand sanitizer, or some solid food.
Seeing the hardship experienced by others, Maria also learned to cherish what she already has.
Every time I give them supplies, they feel happy. The feeling is like I'm helping someone out.
Kitty used to be a full-time watch repairer. She switched to part-time while taking care of her kids. 2 years ago, her children finally graduated and started working. Kitty decided to retire and to be a volunteer.
I learned a lot. I became happier and had a sense of belonging. It was boring just staying home. I felt locked in with nothing to do.
Apart from assisting social workers in the neighborhood, Kitty mainly works in this cafe. She talks to the women and comforts those in need.
I always say that my job is simply talking to people. For example, some women were divorced and worried. I would talk to them and comfort them, tell them not to be scared.
Kitty enjoyed her role, even though many people don't want to share their stories immediately.
I like the job. It doesn't matter if some people don't want to open up initially. They can take their time. Maybe the second time, the third time when they feel comfortable, then they will talk.
Kitty understands how these women feel because she was divorced in 1989. Her ex-husband was a gambler and had debts.
I was determined. Without telling him first, I went to apply by myself. I told him that I want to divorce you. He said, okay. He agreed.
Although she alone would need to take care of her kids, aged 3 and 6 at the time, Kitty felt relief. She never felt ashamed that she was a divorced woman.
I thought it was fine to talk about it. Divorce is common. When a couple have different personalities, they break up. I thought it's a common thing, nothing to be ashamed of.
Tracy is a triathlete. 10 years ago, she retired and decided to be a housewife. Tracy then started running.
I was no longer working. I came back home to take care of my 2 daughters. I spent a lot of time with them, but when they went to school, what would I do? I didn't want to stay home, and running is the easiest thing to do. Just throw on some clothes and sneakers, and I'm off running.
Tracy keeps challenging herself. She ran in the park first, but then she ran marathons. Now she's trying a triathlon.
The triathlon includes running, swimming, and cycling. It's very challenging both physically and mentally, but I think it's the right thing to do. If you don't challenge yourself at all, very easily you will be low-spirited.
Tracy is both an iron woman in sports and at home. As a full-time housewife, she has housework to do besides training.
7點幾8點就會出去㗎啦。咁通常3、4點咧之前就會返到嚟。
I train at 7 or 8 a.m. and then I'll train more before 3 or 4 p.m. My family won't even know if I go out. When I come back, I'll put the backpack aside and start doing the chores immediately. Washing clothes, drying them, ironing, and vacuuming.
跟住吸塵啊、拖地啊咁樣。
To balance training and housework is not easy. Tracy believes good time management is the key to taking care of her family while enjoying a good workout.
時間係自己安排嘅啫，咁佢哋一返咗學。
You can manage your time wisely. When they leave home for school or work, I can start running right away after changing clothes. I can control the distance so I can go back before a certain time. One condition is that I need to finish before they come back home and make sure that they have dinner to eat.
In the past, Tracy didn't try extreme sports because any injury would affect her taking care of her family. Now that her daughters are adults, she can challenge herself to the fullest without much worry.
I've been wanting to try a triathlon for years, but I was responsible for taking care of young kids, and it would be a big deal if I hurt myself. Now they have grown up. It doesn't matter if I get hospitalized. They can take care of me.
Tracy works out almost every day. She can walk fast and vigorously on the hiking trails. There's almost no sign of the serious injury she suffered in 2019. She broke her leg while riding her bicycle. At the time, instead of the severity of her injury, Tracy was worried more about how others may feel.
I was not really upset, but I worried that my injury would influence my team members' spirits. I kept saying that I was fine. I kept telling them that you all can continue. Now you have a chance to overtake me. When I recover, you won't be able to do that.
It took Tracy 6 months to recover, but the mental wounds still remained. She chose to be brave and accept it.
It is painful. If I walk for a while, I feel the pain. The plate is not part of my body after all. But it doesn't matter because I have confidence that I can overcome it. I did hurt myself and the screws will always be with me. I'll adapt to it.
That's Pearl Magazine for this week. Next time, a look at what's cooking to get elderly eating right. And homegrown Aggies, farmers producing for Hong Kong people. Thanks for watching. See you next time.